Jungle Book, Aristocats, Swiss Family Robinson. All of these films have been deemed problematic by the Walt Disney Company, but now an outside entity has come in to say that Mary Poppins is no longer safe for general audiences. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place. Vash, ain't it a glorious day? Just like a morning in May. I feel like I could fly.
Fly a kite? I mean, it's a jolly holiday with Mary.
I mean, have you ever seen the grass so green or a bluer sky? Now, that being said, it looks like the UK government is not a fan of Mary Poppins.
It would appear so. And not just for the Cockney accent there from...
Oh, my, yes.
Yeah, Dick Van Dyke. Look, I love his Bert, but, it's like, wow, that's something.
That is right, Governor. Isn't that right? I love Dick Van Dyke, and I think that he has said that his accent coach thought he did it perfectly, but I think it was his accent coach that was to blame. We are Dick Van Dyke apologists here on this channel. Yes. But this headline out of Variety: Mary Poppins age rating increased in the United Kingdom due to discriminatory language. This by Elise Schaefer. The age rating for the 1964 Mary Poppins. Just before we continue here, Vash, is Mary Poppins important in the legacy of Walt Disney?
Unbelievably so. The amazing stuff that we got out of like the theme parks around this time would not have at all been possible had Mary Poppins not performed the way it did. I mean, it really did fuel the company in Walt's final years, and honestly, up to about a decade after. I mean, this was unbelievably important, a crucial film in the legacy of the Walt Disney Company.
Now, wasn't there a department that was called MAPO
Yes,
after
MAPO.
Mary Poppins? What was MAPO?
MAPO was the division that handled audio animatronic technology specifically. So they were very crucial in like the production of Pirates of the Caribbean, for example, A Haunted Mansion, and many of the groundbreaking achievements that were ushered in via either the opening of Magic Kingdom or Epcot in the 1980s.
So you might say that Mary Poppins is a very important film.
I would say second to only Snow White, honestly, when you talk about the real importance of these films. I mean, you can make an argument for Cinderella. It definitely launched an era of great animated classics, that's for sure. Little Mermaid also, too. But Mary Poppins, I mean, during this very crucial time when the company was rapidly expanding, there couldn't have been a better buoy of money to befall the Walt Disney himself at this crucial time.
Right, and I would say that the film itself is amazing and
Yes.
is culturally significant because it's amazing and it's awesome. The music is wonderful, and it is very much Walt Disney's masterpiece. He wasn't the director. I think Robert Stevenson was the actual director, written by Don DeGrady. I think P.L. Travers got a writer's credit on it.
Bill Walsh, I believe, also too.
Bill Walsh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very good. So this is amazing, but let's continue to this bit of cultural arsony on the part of the UK government.
Please.
The age rating for the 1964 Mary Poppins has been increased in the UK due to discriminatory language. On Friday, the British Board of Film Classification upped the Disney movie's cinema rating from U, meaning it contained no material likely to offend or harm, to PG for discriminatory language. Fascinating. Before reading the article itself, I struggle to think what could be problematic in Mary Poppins.
I mean, honestly, when I saw the original headline, I'm like, what is going on here? Then you get into it, and it's like, I mean, it's a real big maybe, to be honest with you. Yeah. I mean, maybe it has more significance in the UK. I know when I was watching this film as a kid, I just did not at all pick up on the language used here, which is why they went with this PG rating. And honestly, I don't know if UK kids do either. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. In a statement to Variety, the BBFC spokesperson said that the film includes two uses of a discriminatory term, Hottentots. While Mary Poppins has a historical context, the use of discriminatory language is not condemned and ultimately exceeds our guidelines for acceptable language at U. I see you being there, G. We therefore classify the film PG for discriminatory language. I would believe, I believe that phrase is used, screamed down to Mr. Banks down there. I'm using a particularly ridiculous British accent on purpose here. Um, Down to Banks by Admiral Boom, and you can barely make out what he says, anyways.
Yes. Yeah, that's at I believe 107:56 if you're looking at the timestamp for Mary Poppins. And the direct quote is, "Michael, what fine adventure are we off upon today? Going to fight the term and then dig for buried treasure," and kind of goes through all this hootenanny surrounding Michael growing up as a man in a very changed world. And honestly, the Admiral Boom character is supposed to be kind of a caricature in himself, right? He's supposed to be kind of off his rocker a little bit from a bygone era in a very changing time. So him using language like this, and not necessarily even in a derogatory fashion, just that's the language that he used, is kind of consistent with that character. Now it's the second iteration, I think, when this term is used that I think is really the controversial point.
Okay. Well, let's read their their interesting statement here. The word is racially insensitive for the Koikoa or Koko. I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
I believe it's Khoikhoi.
Khoikhoi. That makes sense. An indigenous group in South Africa. The BBFC further explained that the word used in the film by Admiral Boom, or as Dick Van Dyke says, Admiral Boom, including when referring to chimney sweeps whose faces are covered in soot. We understand from our We understand from our racism and discrimination research and recent classification guidelines research that a key concern for people, parents in particular, is the potential to expose children to discriminatory language or behavior which they may find distressing or repeat without realizing the potential offense. I think this is the emphasis right here. Without realizing.
Yes. I guess what they're trying to say is, well, little kids are going to go off and do this if there's not a proper context here, or if it's not delivered to a certain age period or whatever. Which, by the way, that's a really interesting argument, coming from the same people who don't want to actually bar children from reading certain materials in public libraries. But it's a whole other discussion. This is. I think that's the second instance that kind of gets everybody a little hot and bothered, to spit it in an improper fashion. Sorry, but specifically at about 1 hour and 52 minutes into the film, this is actually during the chimney sweep scene, where the chimney sweeps are carrying on, and that very amazing display there at the end, a dance routine right there.
You have the step in time, which is
steps in time, yeah,
absolutely amazing dance number.
Absolutely incredible, and that specific scene was the one that was referenced in Great Movie Ride, for example, because it was so iconic. But at 1 hour and 52 minutes into this film, Admiral Boom is looking through his telescope, and he sees that these chimney sweeps, who are obviously covered in ash and dust, he confuses them. He says, "We're being attacked by Hottentots," and that's where that's coming. So he's thinking that they're being attacked by essentially native people of the Khoikhoi at that time, and that's when he starts firing off the fireworks or the.
So there is some
arms.
possibility that he's just having a delusion in general. I'm not really here to defend the horrible actions of Admiral Boom.
It's played for laughs, and I get it.
And it's also vague enough that I think you have to do a lot of research to understand that it is
I think so, right?
I think like that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's like you're really kind of, I would say, on the one hand, if you're very in tune with it, you might be able to take offense to it, right? But if you're not, it could just go over your head.
Yeah. Now, speaking of things that get people hot and bothered, the original Mary Poppins starred Julie Andrews, and noted perfect impersonator of the Vienna accent, Mr. Ed Wynn. Edwin, I don't know if you know what a Vienna accent sounds like, and you know what Edwin's accent sounds like in this film, you know that I'm joking here. Edwin is, of course, the guy who kind of sounds like this. He's,
Yes, yes.
Alan Tudyk does an impression of him in as King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph.
Very good,
basically.
by the way. I thought
And
that was
it is nothing. Oh yeah, it's fantastic, and I love the way that Edwin performs in the film. He's the uncle that when he laughs, everything raises up onto the ceiling. I love to laugh is the song, and he's supposed to be from Vienna, and there's no indication whatsoever that he actually is Viennese.
You'll know also too, there was a Broadway musical and the Mary Poppins Returns film that starred Emily Blunt as Mary Poppins along with Lin-Manuel Miranda. You know, between Bert's original Cockney accent with Dick Van Dyke and Lin-Manuel Miranda, I'm gonna go Dick Van Dyke anytime on that. And a number of other stars for that film, which surprisingly the Walt Disney Company hasn't referenced in a while. It's kind of an interesting thing going on there. But there was a series of articles made about this, one in the Telegraph as well, interestingly enough. And it's really interesting. I'll read you just a couple of things because I know we're short on time. Of all the words that are likely to inspire offense or and anger in today's society, Hottentot is not particularly high on the list. It's an antiquated term that was mainly used in the 18th and 19th centuries in conversation, generally to refer to someone as a barbarian or similarly uncivilized individual. It originally referred to the Khoikhoi, the nomadic society of South Africa, and was taken up firstly by the Dutch settlers of the region, and then passed into English usage in the 17th century. It goes on to say that basically, like, it's not necessarily offensive. It wasn't necessarily offensive at the time. I think it just passed a lot of people's heads a little bit, like it did mine, for example. But that I guess it is the BBFC's domain to classify these things
because they have to dig until it becomes offensive. I mean, barbarian could be considered offensive. Gentile could be considered offensive. I suppose. If you really dig, yes, there is an instance in which someone, and I don't want to go by my anecdotal evidence here, but I have never heard of this phrase being offensive until the UK government and says, oh, like a nanny, but not a fun one like Mary Poppins. They come in and try to help us all be better. Thank you so much, the UK government, for for your moment in the sun here. Go ahead.
I agree. I mean, it's like, aren't you highlighting these things? But the BBFC, this is the official website right here. You can see U is suitable for all for all peoples, like you said before, and then PG 8 or older. I mean, that's insane to think that you can't show this to a 7-year-old. It's wild. But this they go into P.L. Travers' life right here, and I just wanted to reach one quote from this.
Right, because those original P.L. Travers books, those aren't problematic at all, of course.
Yes. Well, they bring that up right there, that's for sure. But there's there's quite the quote here, if I can get it here. Let's see. Yes, had Travers herself been uncomplicatedly colonial in her attitudes, then she could be pilloried by the right-minded. So I guess they've had their crosshairs for a long time. This is going back, interestingly, to the 1980s when San Francisco banned her books and stuff like that. And so she had to edit her books, and it was a thing. By the way, this comes back to this one right here.
The original, sorry, not the original, the current versions of Mary Poppins. It makes me want to go back and find out what was in those original versions.
Yeah, and there's some stuff in there for sure. But we are living in a very interesting time when we're not necessarily supposed to be prohibiting children from reading books with explicit material, but we can definitely prohibit children from watching Mary Poppins. Topsy-turvy, upside down. I don't know where we are, Jonas. This is
no.
One.
Topsy-turvy is the movie about the Gilbert and Sullivan movies, though.
I see.
Those are also not acceptable for children. Oh my. Oh my! Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. UK government, you need to chill. That's all I'm going to say here. But of course, we want to throw this to the audience. Now that you know my opinion, now that you can guess Vash's, what are your thoughts on this? Is Mary Poppins appropriate for children under 8, unsupervised? Maybe in America it is, but not over there in the UK. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Like this video if you like this video. Consider sharing it out if you know someone who might be yearning to learn more about the latest struggle in correcting the horrible legacy of Walt Disney. And of course, consider subscribing to That Park Plays for all the news. That should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.